Hey eSkaters, Nate from eSkate Hub here, and today we're going to be doing a complete review of the Backfire Zealot Electric Skateboard. Backfire was one of the first affordable electric skateboard companies to release versions of their boards with belt drive motors. In the past, they pretty much solely focused on hub drive boards, and belts are reserved for premium electric skateboards like Boosted Board and Evolve. And the death of Boosted Boards, RIP, has left a massive hole in the market for these belt drive electric skateboards. But I have to say, the Backfire Zealot does an amazing job at pretty much plugging up that entire gap in the market. As you can see, I've already taken it for a skate, but I haven't done any of my tests that I usually do. So let's take a closer look at the Backfire Zealot and see if this is the electric skateboard that's right for you. I'll test everything from the range, acceleration, top speed, hill climbing, and braking, and of course, most importantly, how it actually feels when you're riding it. So stick around, and if you have any questions along the way, drop them in the comments below and I will get you the answer. Okay, let's do this. Let's first take a quick look at what we've got in the box. We have a sticker pack, which has been revamped with all these awesome new stickers, spare motor guards, 2 extra 37T wheel pulleys, 2 spare belts, standard T-tool, some spare nuts and bolts, 3 Allen keys, all of different sizes for different parts of the board, a spare XT60 cable, USB-C cable for the remotes, the board charger, the remote, and of course you get the Backfire Zealot Electric Skateboard. As always, starting with the deck, it is a composite between bamboo and fiberglass, so it'll have plenty of flexibility in there due to the bamboo, and the fiberglass should make it extra strong. You can see there's a slight concave, it's mainly flat in the middle, and these shoulders at the edges here where your toes and heels will sit flare up just a little bit. Not as much as the X-Way Flex, that's for sure, but definitely a lot more than a boosted board. So the length is bang on 39 inches long, and the width is about just under 9.5 inches at the front, just over 8.5 inches at the back. So that's a fairly decent sized board, great for people who are of medium to tallish height like myself. And this grip tape is nice and coarse. The Backfire logo is actually cut out of the grip tape with this purple coloring at the back, which looks super nice. From the top, the hardware for the trucks actually pokes out from the top of the grip tape. Thanks Backfire for listening. It is nice to be able to access the trucks from the top of the board without having to pull up the grip tape. Flip it over, take a look. We got dual plastic enclosures. They're hard plastic, so they're rock solid. They look fantastic. I love the little cutouts out here. This is LED lighting, which you can put on. It's probably not great to help you see in the dark, but it's good for visibility with other cars and pedestrians around when you're riding at night. They'll be able to see you. Metal heatsink on the top here, power button on the ESC. We've got the charging port here and a USB port here for charging USB devices, which is handy. They do say the Backfire enclosure is really water resistant, so let's open it up and take a look and see what it's all about. So it's got this rubber gasket here, which is attached to the board, and then the enclosure sits on top of that. You've got these cables here connected to the board, so let's take them off. So the battery pack is enclosed in this other case, which we're gonna have to open up now, aren't we? All right, and there's our battery pack. I can see the LED strips down here. The battery is 345 watt-hour battery, I can see here, which is interesting because on their website it says 311 watt hours. I'm gonna assume that every board comes with a 345 watt hour battery. Don't know why they would say 311 watt hours on their website and then put a bigger battery in. It just doesn't make sense to me. But it's a 12S 2P configuration with 21,700 cells, so it's a fairly massive battery. Hopefully we can get the range that they state on their website. They give a range of values, which is 17.5 miles to 22 miles, and that's about 28 to 36 kilometers. That's a fairly large range, which is kind of good to see in a way because every rider is going to be different. They're going to get a different range. They said that they tested this range with an 80 kilo rider riding in S mode the entire time at around 30 kilometers an hour. So I'm 93 kilometers an hour. I'll probably cruise at about 30 kilometers an hour. Of course, I'm gonna do the top speed, hill climb, braking test, all that kind of thing on the range test. So we'll see how that goes a little bit later on. You wouldn't change this battery pack. What you would do is you would buy this whole thing together and just undo these 3 screws and put this one back on and swap them in and out like that. And that was really easy. That is the closest thing I've seen to a boosted board style battery swap system. So that's the battery. Let's take a look at the trucks. We've got caliber 2 trucks on the front and we've got flanker trucks on the back. We've seen them before. Caliber 2 trucks are amazing, very well trusted in the eSkate industry. I don't have too much to say about them. They are at an angle of 50 degrees, which is a nice angle for cruising and a little bit of carving here and there. The wheels are 96mm 78A and they're fairly squishy. They have a great riding feel, but we'll show you more of that a little bit later on when we go out. And the motors at the back here are 2x 750 watt belt-driven motors. And as I said before, this is the first time Backfire have put a belt drive on any of their electric skateboards. So this is really exciting. Keep in mind that there have been quite a few people who have received their Zealot and they've been getting some weird clicking sounds in their motors, if you can hear this. So what I'm going to do is I've got another video up here, just go check that out, and it's really easy to take off the motor system and clean it out. Sometimes debris gets stuck in there. Sometimes the nuts become a little loose, but it's really simple. A little 5-minute video should do the trick. So these are high torque motors supplied by Hobbywing, which are also a very trusted brand in the eSkate industry. So it should have good acceleration, hill climbing abilities, and their top speed is rated at 28.5 miles per hour, which is 46 kilometers. That sounds like a lot, so we're definitely going to be testing that later on. In the Backfire Zealot, we have the Hobbywing ESC, which is arguably one of the most popular ESCs in the eSkate industry. So you're going to get smooth acceleration and braking, and it's going to be really reliable. The remote has 2 riding modes. It's got an E mode, I suppose for eco, and an S mode, I'm guessing for sport. It then has a turbo mode, which you can toggle with the triangular button. And what this does is it gives you 20% boost in acceleration, but if you ride in this mode, you'll only get 60% of the possible range. So I wouldn't recommend riding in turbo all of the time. I would stick to sport most of the time and just use turbo when maybe you need to get up a steep hill or you need to overtake somebody on the roads. Reverse is just a flick of this switch, which I actually kind of like, rather than having to click a button and not being sure which mode you're in before you jump on the board. That makes it so much easier. You got cruise control, so when you're accelerating, you just hit that mode button once and you will coast along. We'll see how that works in our tests a little bit later on, because I have had some boards where the cruise control just isn't that great and there's been some issues, but hopefully the Zealot doesn't have any of those. On the remote's display, you can see the battery levels for both the remote and the board, your current speed, the mode that you're in, your trip distance, and your total odometer distance. It's kind of a small display, but there is tons of information on there, which is nice. If you've used or seen any of the other Backfire boards, then you'll be very familiar with this remote. The last thing I want to mention before we go out and test this board is that Backfire does have a mobile app. However, I tried registering and it was throwing me all sorts of errors and I just could not get on to use it at all. If you're also having trouble, let me know in the comments below. Let's see if we can tee something up with Backfire to get it fixed. If you have been able to get on the Backfire app, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear what you think of it. All right, it's time for the tests. Let me know if I'm doing a good job so far by smashing that like button. And if you want to join the eSkate crew, hit the subscribe and the bell notification button so that you can stay up to date with all the latest electric skateboard news and reviews. Alrighty, let's finally get outside and ride this thing. Alrighty, skaters, let's get going. Let's do these range tests and the likes of. So I'll start in sports mode. I'll pretty much do the whole thing in sports mode. 0 kilometers on the clock. It's ready to go, sounding good. I just cleaned up the motors. Let's see how it goes. Wow, it's super bouncy. Probably can't see it that well in the video, but it is really, really bouncy. That's great for going over shitty roads and bumps and cracks and stuff. These trucks feel amazing going from side to side. I'm not pushing it too hard yet, just getting a feel for the board. I'm kind of liking this bounce, especially for just cruising along. It makes it really comfortable. There's a tiny little bit of vibrations coming through my feet, but going over cracks and bumps and rocks, I hardly feel it at all. Here's my tried and true trusted hill. It's about 12% hill grade, but I'm not sure if you can see those cars coming up. It is pretty damn steep. You know, you're not going to get too many hills that are steeper than that. I'm going to go up in turbo mode because, I don't know, let's just see how it goes with its maximum power. I think that's going to be most interesting. I'm on the flat at the moment, so it's got a bit of power pumped to it. Fuck, it's actually really, really powerful. All right, I'm full throttle now, heading up this hill, and it's still kind of accelerating. 29 kilometers an hour, 28, 30 kilometers an hour going up this hill. That's pretty mental, I reckon. So this is the steepest part, and it's still doing 29 kilometers an hour. That's pretty unbelievable for you know, a company that's come from Hub Boards. I would have expected something a lot less than that. If I remember correctly, the Flex was doing about 20 Ks up the hill on the belt drive, so I'm fairly impressed with that. All right, we'll head back down the hill. I'll go to my favorite spot to do the top speed test and acceleration and braking and all that good stuff. I'm gonna keep riding and I'll see you there. I'm gonna do the brake test right here. So what's gonna happen is I'm gonna come down here at about 30 kilometers an hour from off the screen here, apply the brakes right at where my backpack is, and then I'm gonna mark it out with my handy dandy measuring wheel. All right, I'll see you in a sec. .8 meters, that's not too bad. That should get you out of most trouble riding at 30 kilometers an hour. That was in sport mode, by the way. I wonder if the braking power is any different in turbo mode. Let's give that a crack now. .4. It's a little bit longer, but I reckon I was doing about 31 kilometers coming up to that line. So there's always that. It's always going to be a little bit of a different speed, but I reckon it's negligible. It's got the same braking power in sport mode as it does in the turbo mode. And I just realized I've been riding in turbo mode for a little bit, which is not really what I wanted to do to test this range, but it's only been about 5 kilometers in turbo mode, so let's keep that in mind for the end of the range test. All right, right now I'm gonna do the top speed and acceleration test. So let's jump on and do that one, shall we, right now. So here's the road we're gonna be doing the top speed and acceleration test on. I'll just carry you with me while we go through it. The road is basically flat. There's not much incline or decline in it at all. You know what, I'm gonna do it in turbo mode. Let's see what this thing's capable of doing. You ready, set, go. Whoa. Shit, it's quick off the mark. 25 already, 27, 30, 37. Oh my God. 44 kilometers an hour, 45. Come on, get there. Oh. 45 kilometers an hour. Man, and it gets there fast too. They really do have some seriously high torque motors on this thing. That felt great. On the way back, I'm gonna do pretty much the same test, top speed and acceleration, but this time I'm gonna do it in sport mode just to see what the difference is here. All right, ready, set, go. Much slower takeoff. Still not too bad though. Up to 25 kilometers an hour already. 33. 37, 38, 38 kilometers an hour on sport mode. That's still pretty decently fast. You're not gonna be riding that hard too often. Turbo modes really feel like really fanging it with friends and having a good time. But most of the time when you're commuting, you're gonna be doing 30 kilometers an hour, maybe 25. Depending on how confident a rider you are, what kind of roads you're on, but I'm pretty happy with that so far. That's pretty much all of the tests except for the range test. What have I got? I'm on 7.7 kilometers and I'm down to 3 out of 5 bars. So I have just done a bunch of different tests, pushing the board to the limit. So when we head out, I'm gonna be doing a lot more cruising. Try and do it at 25 to 30 kilometers an hour. I might check in with you here and there if I have anything to mention, but I'll probably see you at the end. Let's test out this cruise control. I don't know how I'm gonna go filming it with one hand and using the remote with the other, but let's give it a crack. I might change hands actually. So let's go, let's get to a comfortable speed that we want to cruise on. See if I can hit 20 kilometers on the dot. I don't know, I can't tell if I'm just rolling. That's it. I'm going up a tiny little incline now, so I definitely know that this is on cruise control. It's flipping back and forth between 19 and 20, and I'm on a fairly flat road, so there's no issues. Yeah, I'm still cruising. That's pretty good. What happens if I change modes? Yeah, I just dropped down into Eco. I wonder if I'm still cruising. Can I change the speed mode while I'm accelerating? No. But you can change it while you're moving, just not when you're accelerating. That's a good feature, I like that, because that means you're not gonna accidentally change the speed mode while you're accelerating and then end up A/T. Can I put it into turbo while I'm accelerating? No, you can't put it into turbo while I'm accelerating. Can I put it into turbo while I'm coasting? Yes, you can put it into turbo while you're coasting. I'm just gonna stop here because it's really loud. The configurations of these buttons on this remote are pretty much flawless. No chance you're going to change modes or turn the remote off or flip it into reverse while you're accelerating. So that's very, very good. I know that sounds a little bit strange because this is something that remotes should do, but you would be very surprised at the amount of remotes that I take out and I can change the modes while I'm accelerating. And it's very dangerous because it can send you on your ass before you know it. All right, let's get back to the range test. I'm on 10 Ks. I've still got 3 out of the 5 bars. I'll check in with you soon. So I've hit 24 kilometers and I got my first power dump. This is full throttle. I'm going at about 23 kilometers an hour. There is a bit of a drop in power once you get down to, say, the 10% mark. I mean, I can still go a little bit. It's just, I'm not going as fast as I usually would, and I definitely cannot climb many hills that fast. It comes to a complete crawl. I'm climbing a hill. It's probably only a 5% hill grade, and I'm full throttling it, and I'm coming to a stop. So that's pretty much it for it. You can ride on the flat for a little bit longer at 20 to 25 Ks, but if you had any hills to climb, you wouldn't be climbing them at all. So I might call it quits here. 25 kilometers. That's pretty good. Perfect timing too, because it's just about to start raining. This car's coming along. I'm gonna try and head back now. I might have to get Mel to pick me up. I might not make it, but yeah, we'll do a debrief when we get home. Man, overall, I think the Backfire Zealot is an amazing electric skateboard. It is probably the closest thing I've so far found that is anything like a boosted board and rides like a boosted board. The top things to mention about the Zealot is the deck. The deck is extremely comfortable and is perfect for commuting. One thing to note though is that it is very, very flexible. So if you're the kind of rider that doesn't really like bounce on their rides, then definitely do not get this board because it has some of the most flex that I've ever experienced in an electric skateboard. The acceleration, top speed, and the hill climbing in turbo mode is completely insane. It's got tons of power. It climbs hills like they're not even there. It's really punchy from takeoff, and the top speed is 45 kilometers an hour, which is just nuts on a board like this. In sports mode, the acceleration is still quite good, but there's definitely a discernible difference between the sport and the turbo. It has a solid range capability. I got a total of about 25 kilometers, so it's gonna be plenty to get you to most places that you need to be. And we saw how easily it was to swap this battery over, so you can carry extras in your backpack and effectively get as much range as you want, depending on how many batteries you want to carry. It has a solid range. I ended up getting 25 kilometers, and I did all of the tests during that test, including the top speed and hill climb. So I was really pushing the board to its upper limits. And there were a few times where I was accidentally riding on turbo mode. So I did say that I was going to do sport mode only, but I accidentally left it in turbo mode after doing a couple of the tests. So there's that to keep in mind as well. If you were just riding in sports mode on flat ground at about 30 kilometers an hour, then I definitely think you'll be able to hit the range of 28 to 36 kilometers an hour, which I think they ranged it at. A few things to note. First is the turning circle isn't that great. It's pretty comparable to a boosted board. It's nowhere near as good as the Flex, but to be honest, if you're looking to buy an electric longboard like this, you're probably getting it for commuting and you're not too worried about the turning circle. And lastly, the grub screws on the motors were a little bit loose when I received the boards. So when you get your Zealot, make sure you double check to make sure everything's, tightened up properly, and so basically that it's safe for you to ride. So if you want an electric skateboard in a longboard form for commuting and a little bit of carving, and you're thinking about getting the Backfire Zealot, then you would not be upset with this e-board. It is great for what it is designed to do. I don't think I have anything else to say about the Backfire Zealots. If you have any questions, drop them down in the comments below. I will answer every single one of them for you because it's my job to help you find the best electric skateboard that's right for you. Subscribe to join the eSkate crew and stay up to date with all of the eSkate news, reviews, and giveaways, everything that's going on in the industry. And smash that like button. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Ride safe out there, and I'll see you soon.